Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shar Dundred, and today we're going to react to Jay's I ranked every Legends of Arkain Warcraft 3 custom campaign in character like a crazy person. Yeah, it's going to be one of those videos. I have no experience with reactions, and I know they infest YouTube like crazy. But in this case, I just had to. Alright, I'm going to start watching now, and I love the fact that the video starts with sass at the sass tier. Alright. This is a trimmed video from the livestream. I was unfortunately not able to watch the livestream. I've only been jumping in a few times because I was busy the whole day. And now, relatively spoiler-free, I'm going to watch this. Let's see.
Alright. Uncorrupted Edale is a baby. She's the most easily corruptible person. Oh no, my father didn't believe in me. I guess I'll just become evil and kill everybody and become possessed by a demon.
Fair.
Can I tell you something? Uncorrupted Edale, I think, while compelling, is just awful. So she's going in the D tier. These are subject to change. But Uncorrupted Edale goes in the low tier because everything about her is woe is me. No one validates my feelings. By extension, I will now absorb artifacts that I'm so desperate for external validation that I need to absorb a demon.
I don't know what you mean. It sounds completely reasonable when you think about it, right?
Show them how powerful I am. Congratulations, you idiot. You get the D tier. Enjoy it. Corrupted Edale, on the other hand, way more confident.
I'm just gonna tune up the audio here, because I think I'm very loud and it's very not so.
Shares a mind palace with a demoness assassin. Hard to say, because I think Lisara is her own character here. Corrupted Edale is still just sort of a pawn. But at least she can do like a Fire Nova spell. I would say Corrupted Edale will tentatively put in the B tier because she has great abilities and she no longer is a flippin' baby. But that's probably because she's getting locked away in the back of her brain.
Yeah.
Amari?
Before we move on to Amari, I just would like to say I would like to quote Jay from his video. Nobody wants another Jaina clone. Which is basically what Edale was back in the first human book. At least gameplay-wise and I guess personality-wise, maybe.
This is the easiest one of my entire life. Amari is sliced bread.
Ah.
Easy.
Okay.
She has tons of the more screen time a character has, the easier it is going to put them high because they have there's something compelling about them. She united the orc clans against all odds. She was betrayed by her own family, managed to still become chieftain or chiefess, whatever the heck, of a clan, and then subsequently reunites everyone, and then a bunch of other malign people, turning one of the most closed-minded factions and aggressive, violent factions in Arkain into potentially one of the most diverse and inclusive factions in Arkain, and by extension, one of the most successful. Easy sliced bread.
Okay. Yeah, I can see his reasoning. I did expect him to rate Amari high. I didn't expect her on the sliced bread. Yeah, sliced bread tier. I would have thought he put her on A or B or something, but I have absolutely no complaints about that one. It's not like I'm trying to say what I would have done here. Because obviously, I mean, I know things that people don't know, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I know everything, because then I would act like Aerodon over here, who's coming up next. Nah, that's not the thing. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's just that I think I can totally see where he's coming from with his arguing here. And I don't disagree with it either.
Aerodon. This is tough. Because I think Aerodon is a grandiose narcissist. I think everything that we see from Aerodon's perspective is twisted, not necessarily in a malicious way, but it's just sort of a lie. And I purposefully don't like Aerodon that much, if only because he's a know-it-all, but he doesn't actually know it all. By extension, I think that makes him a good character. He's compelling. I think Aerodon gets B tier. He's an important character. I think he tries his best, but everything about him is deeply flawed.
Yeah.
Aveen, who is this?
I didn't even notice he has a who is this tier. Okay.
She has like hawks or something. Who cares?
It's Falcons, Jay.
Beerum? He's like the spokesman for Gardon. Aerodon is Gary Sue. I mean, he is an amalgamation of a bunch of dead gods.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Aerodon has the power he thinks he has, but he wields it incredibly inappropriately.
Yeah. I can totally see that, yeah.
Beerum is like the herald for Gardon, right? He's like a diplomat.
Right.
I'm going to give this guy a C simply because he doesn't do anything memorable except go around and talk to people. And, like, he, like, fills in gaps that Shar Dundred thinks the player needs to hear by having Beerum tell it to people in the Iron Fist faction.
Mm-hmm. It's also the fact that Gardon and Fanok cannot be everywhere at the same time. Also, Beerum is not just a filler character like that, but I guess, yeah, sort of in what's been shown so far, he gets some more importance after the Second Void War. But yeah, he's used because, as I said, the main characters of the Iron Fist, like Gardon, Fanok, obviously, they can't be everywhere at the same time. It just doesn't make sense.
Blen Greymore? Can I tell you something? Blen Greymore was the very first main character from the first human book and was supposed to be like the protagonist and was by extension the most boring character possible. Blen Greymore honestly deserves to go in the who is this tier, even though we know who he is.
Yeah.
But there is not a redeeming quality for Blen Greymore, except we're supposed to assume he's like the good guy. But he's nothing. He's a blank slate. So Blen Greymore goes in the E tier.
Yeah, I'm still laughing about that. Completely justified, though. Yeah, the thing is, the first human book was Blen meant to be boring, neutral, whatever have you, to avoid the fact that his personality might influence players for the choices he makes. The true story is changing that up a bit, but it's still Blen, and I'm not going to change who Blen is. Yeah, I can. Putting Blen into the who is this tier would have been something.
I want to see someone come here and tell me that Blen Greymore deserves B or A tier.
It's gonna happen.
Bone Lords. The Bone Lords and Krom are Arcanians. which is like one of the original. It was like the original race that the gods made, and then the gods all killed each other and spawned the 4 demigods, right?
Yep.
And so like these dudes are like super edgelords, and they think that they're super powerful, but they're just they're skeletons, and they get hit with a big cannon. I don't know what's going to happen in the true story. Either you shoot them with a giant cannon, if you're the human books, or you just outright murder them with like red dragons in the orc book. And then you never really get to use them in the second undead book because Shar Dundred didn't finish it.
Excuse me.
I think the Bone Lords, we just don't know enough about. I think this is a character that Shar Dundred has, like, in his head, is like, the Bone Lords, man, you gotta know about the Bone Lords. It's the Bone Lords. But then the rest of us are like, hey, the only time we, the player, have seen the Bone Lords is when we kill them.
Yeah.
And then you never, like, flesh them out in the second undead book. So, like, who cares about the Bone Lords? Can I tell you something? And maybe it's because I haven't read all the short stories or something. The Bone Lords go in the Who Is This category.
How dare you not read all the short stories of Arkain, Jay? I'm very disappointed right now. I mean, I love how 100% accurate this is.
Because the Bone Lords have existed simply for us to murder. I think, again, it's expected that we're supposed to think they're important. At the very, they can go in the E tier at least.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is not my playlist, but this is acceptable. I'll turn my playlist back on. My playlist ended, and it actually just went to my next thing. Hang on. I like the chillness of it here. We'll shuffle this around. Brian. Now this is someone I can get behind. Brian is at least A tier, maybe even sliced bread. And can I tell you why? It's because Brian is just a guy, and his name is Brian. And he was possessed by, like, a demigod. These 4 of the I call them demigods, but they're actually, like, the amalgamation of, like, a bunch of dead gods that were so mad that they, like, recoalesced into a being. And one of those was, like, Bahrazel or whatever the heck, Lord of Shadows, who then possessed Brian. But instead of going by Bahrazel, Lord of Shadows, he just decided to stick with Brian. And that alone gets him to at least A tier. But even further, Brian is like a mastermind, sort of, where he's like pulling the strings with the Amari and Gardon and making his own little factions. He's also chill with the orcs.
One of a few, yeah.
So by extension, I think Brian goes in sliced bread. I think Brian is an easy sliced bread.
This is very funny if you have watched only the second Human Book Play series, because he freaking hated Brian at the end of it. It just shows how much the second Orc book and the True Story did for him. Life of Brian version 2. One of the most developed characters, yeah.
Because he's also one of the only superpowers in Arkain, like the behind-the-scenes 4D chess maniacs, who seems to care at all about the actual inhabitants of the world.
Exactly, yeah.
Aerodon seems like he might, but he doesn't actually. Aerodon only cares about himself and having control over everybody. And then he makes this facade of like, oh, I do it because there needs to be balance, as if that is it's like a thought-terminating cliche. He says, there's got to be balance, but like, what does that mean? Does that mean like more people get to live? Does that improve the utility of everyone's lives that remain in Arkain? Nobody knows. He just says it's balance. It's a tautology. He just says it and just says like, well, because I say that it's balanced, you must assume that it's true. That that's like a good thing. He has no prescription.
Yeah.
Brock.
The thing is... Yeah, I think I just interrupted him, yeah. Sorry about that. The thing is, Aerodon doesn't tell anyone either. It's not like he's going to go to Jay and be like, hey, look, this is the balance of Arkain, I'm going to explain it to you now.
Brockta. This is, Brockta is a, he's the leader of the ogres that you rescue with the red dragons, and then they come back, and he's just, I think a lot of these, we gotta speed our, look how many we got. We gotta speed our way through some of these smaller characters. Brockta gets a C.
Yeah, fair.
He's fine. He's cool with, Amari's goals. Really, any of these named characters that end up joining the tribal dominion, I think are all acceptable in the sense that they just join up because they know it's the right thing to do. But they don't, none of them are like cool enough to get a higher tier. We'll see though. Cora Redfist, one of the Redfist daughters.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? I think Cora's cool because she can kill someone in order to gain one of the best abilities in the game.
Yeah.
Cora the Explorer. Brockta is 2 guys. Technically, yes, yeah. How does that work with the ogres having 2 heads? Like, how does that work in practice? Is it like those twins that are born where, like, they're fused together? Is it like that? How does that work? Anyway, Cora Redfist, I think, is similar to her sister, except she's not as much of a flippin' baby. All right, Cora is cool and a powerful character, and isn't like, oh, woe is me, nobody believes in me, therefore I'm going to fall to evil. Instead, Cora's like, I'm just going to absorb dark magic because it's flippin' awesome. So at the very least, she has to go above edale. I think Cora gets a B.
Yeah, that's fair.
Claire. We don't really know enough about Claire,
Yeah.
other than Merlon gets like super into her, right, and tries to give her a diamond.
Yeah.
But she's into it. She likes the diamond, and then she saves his life if he gives her the diamond. If he doesn't give her the diamond, then I guess all we really know about Claire is she's a materialistic piece of shit. She can't even save Merlon if he doesn't give her a diamond to show his love. Look at that. Cora is better than edale. This is corrupted edale. This uncorrupted edale gets a D. And this isn't about power levels. This is about Jayborino liking these characters or not.
Yeah, exactly. These lists are completely subjective, so no matter what I say, I completely respect his opinion, of course. I'm just going to react to it because I wanted to. I'd like to say, calling Claire a materialistic piece of shit is a bit extreme, Mr. Jayborino. Just saying. By the way, she only saves Merlin in the second human book if you also have uncorrupted edale.
Claire, I think we just throw in the C tier. We don't know enough about her.
Yeah.
She's fine. Commander Derrick? I'm
interested.
Is this the guy that's hunting the orcs, or is this the lieutenant that's kind of like, maybe we shouldn't?
The former.
This is the guy that's actually like trying to kill the orcs, right? I mean, he's whatever, right? We don't really know much about him. I think he goes in the C or the D tier. He's just doing what he's told.
Yeah.
He was assigned to hunt down the orcs, and he does it. Dude, the Destroyer, can I tell you something? For those of you, I've already recorded the entirety of the 3rd act of the of the true story. Destroyer is the next big character in Arkain. Probably not, but I like made my own headcanon what's going on with the Destroyer.
Sorry.
Look, Destroyer, straight A tier.
Yeah. 100% agree here.
Destroyer gets A tier, and I'll tell you why. He's a weirdly compelling character because, one, he doesn't have a real name that we know of. And number two, the reason that I think he's a cool character is because, and you'll see this in the true story, but the Destroyer is all basically an act. He puts on this this front to seem super powerful, and he purposefully, you know, it's the whole warrior thing is just a big front. But then he admits that it's basically because he has a fear of being forgotten. He wants to go down in the annals of history instead of being completely forgotten. And by extension, he needs to... It's all, you know, it's all bravado. I think that alone is a compelling story that has the potential for a really cool payoff. I talk about this a lot in the very last mission, the very last video that you'll see in a couple weeks.
Very good, but you just spoiled your video, Jay. Won't matter in a few weeks anyway. Yeah, I'm not going to say much about you because I don't want to add any spoilers here. But I also think the Destroyer is going interesting places. That's all I'm gonna say.
But, like, the Destroyer is smarter than he lets on. Like, he purposefully makes him seem like a dumb brute, but is in fact pretty intelligent. And also, because in the original story, he dies in the one mission he's in, but now he's, like, been stretched forward into the future and, like, how he relates with the other Orc clans, I think by extension makes him deserve a higher tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, he doesn't have a real name. He's just one of those characters that I find weirdly compelling, if only because it seems like the cliche would be that he's a throwaway brute character, but in fact, actually, there's, like, depth to him. So I think he goes high on the list. My goal is to meme this character into the forefront. I'm gonna bully Shar into being like, look, everybody's loving the Destroyer. You can't just throw him away. You can't have him die on the front line like he claims to want, right? He admitted that he's got this deep-seated fear. He's being honest with his emotions. You got so much room to take this character places, okay? You can't just throw him away.
Yeah, I kind of feared we were going with Faye. Bully Shar, alright. I'm just going to say that I don't throw stuff away like that. I already said too much.
Dagren? Who is this? I thought Dagren was one of the Chieftains from, like, the original first workbook that has since been replaced by a different character. I don't know who this is.
Gardon is the champion of the Gold X clan. He also has been the champion of the Gold X clan in the original. He just didn't really have much screen time. He was killed off pretty soon. He entered the stage and 2 chapters later he was dead. Along with gorthog.
Dorbrick is the bull guy. He's fine, but I'll be honest, these Imperial generals have even less screen time than, like, the side characters from the Dominion, so that's D tier.
So far. Yeah, I understand. I'm calling it now. He's going to put all the generals into who is this tier or something like that, all apart from Dorbrick, maybe. That's going to change, my friends. That's going to change. Or not. Depends on the character. Spoiler!
King Dortan. This guy can't tell which way the wind's blowing. But he also is just sort of the victim of the changing tides of the world.
Yeah. Didn't ask for this.
I think King Dortan... I mean... He's not really a super compelling character, maybe in, like, the short stories or something. So I think he's a C.
I would like to repeat, checking the short stories is highly recommended by me. Obviously, I would say that. I'm the one who writes most of them. But yeah. The thing is, I don't want characters to be only represented in the short stories like that. I think it's a nice supplement. So I completely understand the reasoning here.
That's fine. He might be the Gold X Chieftain.
No.
I think that's what I thought he was originally. Now the Gold X Chieftain is secret. We don't know who the Gold X Chieftain actually is. I think Ibira gets A tier. I don't even have to really even think about it, but I think Ibira is straight A tier because she is one of the few, if not the only, demoness or demon character that seems to actually have some idea of how to play the geopolitical game.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just figured she didn't have enough screen time to show that, but yeah, she really is good at the game.
Edoras? Who cares? I know who it is, but I might as well put him in the who is this category. You can go in the D category. Again, I think a lot of these characters are like, you know, Shar has like an extensive character page and some of them in the short stories, but if just my personal experience in the campaigns, a lot of these characters basically have no lines and do nothing. But I'm supposed to think they're super cool. I don't really have a reason to. You get in the D category.
Okay.
Flammidus, you're like Brockta, you get put here. Flesh Terror? I mean, he's got nothing he's like a mindless monstrosity, isn't he? D tier. Galireth the Great. You're gonna see another video with Galireth in it next time. He's like a mad scientist. I do like him quite a bit. I think Galireth gets at least C tier, if not B tier. I think Galireth goes B tier, because I think he actually has more characterization and interesting things going on with him, even though he's had less time than some of these tribal dominion lieutenants.
Yeah.
Goldax Chieftain is Largoth, naturally.
Largoth, okay, yeah, okay. Right. Yeah, about Galireth, yeah, he's a very... The thing is, Galireth and I think many characters, I think also Amari and the Destroyer benefited from it a lot, is the true story. The generals are, of course, an exception, apparently. But every character that gets more screen time in the true story really benefits from it. That's at least the way I see it.
I mean, it's supposed to purposefully be a secret. I think it's probably the Dreadlord with a monocle. Gardon.
Now what's gonna happen?
Gardon's a tough one because Gardon has maybe the most lines of like any character.
Pretty much.
He's also very myopic. He's very singular in what he's doing. I think he's great, if only because he drives the plot so strongly. So I think Gardon at least goes into A. I don't know if he deserves sliced bread, but I think Gardon goes in A for now.
Admit it, Jay, you hate Gardon. Nah. Or maybe there's some truth behind that, right? Gardon is doing some shady things, and I don't think Jay likes that. Yeah, but that's what's good. That's just who Gardon is, yeah.
Gardon is who is this? I think Gardon's cool, especially at the beginning of the campaign when it's unclear what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Genethys? Can I hit you with something? He sucks, but like Genethys came back from the first Void War and just straight up lied. He's like, hey, we kind of won, but not really, but like we sort of won, and everyone just believed him.
Yeah.
That's some Sigma shit. Genethys goes in the beef.
Okay. I didn't expect this, to be honest. Okay. Sorry.
Gorthog?
Sort
of a who is this? I have a general idea of who Gorthog is, but I think he just goes in D, C or D. It's one of those characters where, like, I think we're supposed to think he's really interesting and cool, but we don't know anything about him, really, so...
Yeah. I can completely see it if someone only played the campaign and feels about Gorthog that way, yeah.
Unless you read the whole... I guess I could open up the character list, but I'm thinking about how these characters all relate to each other.
Yeah.
Grand Gorewolf goes in C. Woof. Grella is C. Graffsag.
I feel like C is just to try the minion tier. As in the characters that didn't get too much screen times or lines yet.
I think Graffsag is a legit A or B character. Graffsag, he's always been there, and he's just been consistently great. I like how he kind of gets in touch with the earth element stuff and allows you to build the rock elementals as time goes on. So I think Graffsag goes in the B or even the A tier.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of Jay's current Let's Play is how he calls Graffsag Rockman. I don't know. It's a simple joke, but it puts a smile on my face.
I'd go so far as to say Graffsag deserves an A, if only because he's so pivotal. He's pretty interesting, and Graffsag maybe is a little too good at always picking the right side, if that makes sense. Graffsag he always knows what to do, and he seems to always know the right way to go.
Yeah.
Haran Kazor, Nerubian that we killed and raised. I feel like I don't really know enough about him. He's sort of mindless and follows Aerodon. You go in the C tier.
Yeah.
At the very least, I feel a little more connected to Haran Kazor than Edoris or Flesh Terror or any of these others. Harmos?
Before we move on to Harmos, I would just like to say that I think that for me personally makes Haran a more interesting character is the fact how he interacts with Hornacian. I mean, it's easy for me to say that. He's also meant to be like that, but I just think, for me personally at least, it makes him more compelling. So I completely agree with the fact that he's just above other characters here.
Dude is obsessed with fire and just burning everything. You know your boy's into that.
Yo.
I think Harmos goes at least B. Least B. Maybe A. The thing about Harmos is a lot of the times he's just sort of there. He's never personally done anything, really.
What?
If you look at the second orc book, when Wrath storms the castle and you choose the Wrath side and you kill Blen,
exactly.
Harmos is the one that goes insane and kills everything.
Yeah. The fire Gandalf.
So you know what? Harmos gets an A. I think Harmos gets an A for that reason, at least. Horgar? White Claw? White Beard? Horgar
White Beard.
White something? Joins the Golden Guard. He's like a dwarven paladin, right? I don't really have strong feelings about any of the dwarves, to be honest. Except maybe Zarin.
Yeah, understandable.
I think Horgar's gonna go C or D tier.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
Hortnog is a strong A.
No surprise.
Hortnog just seems happy. I mean, it's hard to tell through text, but anytime Hortnog is on screen, he just seems sort of gleeful to me about everything going on. Like, he doesn't really care. He's just like, hey, we're making money. Hey, I get to talk to Vanessa. That's my girl. You know? He just seems chill. I like Hortnog.
Yeah. Hortnog's all about it. He's like the perfect Gold X character. Yeah, he's much more compelling than Dagren, for example.
Kazardius, this is a D tier because we don't know anything about him and Edoras together. They're just sort of random lieutenants. Kazardius is he was like the lead general from the original Juainor. He gets a little characterization in an upcoming mission, but not enough. Again, similar to Edoras. It's just, you know, they're just goons. They're minions. That's how I see them, at least.
Yeah.
Like, at least the Imperial generals have something that they're meant to be doing. That it's hard for me to articulate, but I just see the difference between Cora versus like Kazardius. Kazardius is just a goon, an Aerodon goon, whereas Cora I wouldn't characterize as like a Gardon goon.
Yeah.
A
Because she
henchman,
isn't.
You know, she's not. She's kind of her own character and has some interesting stuff that she does. Whereas Kazardius and Edoras, all we know about them is they're just henchmen.
Yeah.
Similar to the Bone Lords, except the Bone Lords go to E category because I get the impression that the Bone Lords are supposed to be really important, but nothing has shown us that they actually are important. Kira, who are you?
Yeah.
I think that's a dark elf. I don't really remember.
It's the mother of Renova, but yeah, that's beside the point. She didn't get much screen time in the campaigns. She got most screen time outside of it so far.
Kanos? Where have we been putting the other Imperial generals? I think you go on. You get a who are you? Who is this? He's one of the generals, but I don't remember of which one.
The fire one.
Cursadar? This is an A or B character. Cursadar is an A or B character. Hard for me to pick. I think he gets at least B. I don't know. Cursadar's gotten a little more cool. He's gotten a little more characterization in the true story, specifically in that first mission in Act 3.
Yeah.
I think a B tier for Cursadar is fine. He's on the cusp, but I'm trying to think of something that would really kick him up to A, and there's nothing. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Krom at least is cooler than the Bone Lords. He's an Arcanian. I hate to say this, and if Shar were here, maybe he could correct me.
Okay.
But all of the undead, like, lieutenants, again, they just feel like brain-dead henchmen to me that think they're really cool, but in fact have nothing that sets them apart from anything.
I'm just going to let him continue here. Wait a moment.
Rahandir and Saphira are the two interesting ones. Krom, though, again, another character that's meant to be super interesting. He's like an elite assassin, though. So I think that at least puts him up to probably C tier. I think Krom deserves a C tier, if only because of his importance.
I feel like, I understand what he means, but I think he doesn't give Krom enough credit there. Yeah, the thing is, of course, they're henchmen in the way that they have been raised and are controlled, etc. Krom's yeah. I don't know. I think he's not giving the man enough credit here. What's that? What I read here? I think people give Sass more shit than he deserves. Chandler, I disagree with that statement. But I know your point of view about this.
But there's just nothing. about other than like he's like a skilled assassin. Oh, he's an Arcanian, but like there's nothing that develops that.
So far, I'm not. I just start foreshadowing here because I'm just making things look like I'm making them up.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I figured it out. These characters have no development. Krom is the master assassin. He then assassinates people. He then assassinates some more people. Nothing changes about it. That's it.
Krom's a mastermind behind
Krom has
everything.
crack. What else do you need? That's the point.
Not anymore.
Krom is the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to make Krom work because he's a funnier character than we've ever had before. We're getting there. Largoth. Honestly, Largoth. Even thinking about where to put you is a waste of time. You're wasting my time. So don't even speak to me. I'll be honest. I would put Largoth in sliced bread. Except I think he's just annoying. He's just kind of annoying. So he goes in A tier. But I...
I mean... yeah, I understand what you mean. He broke a fourth wall, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, I'm going to look forward to the rest of his reasoning here. I mean, he made Largoth more annoying than he was by wasting time and everything. He did say it too much, but Jay made it worse. And he knows that. He's perfectly aware of that.
I think, again, he's just sort of annoying. If you can't tell, the trend here is if I think a character is presented as seeming way too cool than they actually deserve, then they go down in rank. That's what it is.
Noted.
The undead are quite stagnant faction. I guess, but and that's probably Aerodon's fault, yeah. It's because Aerodon is a one-track myopic mind and thinks he knows what's best, so he tasks his minions to do a thing, and they just believe him, and they never change. I think what would make the undead faction way more compelling is if there was at least one flippin' character that doubted him. At least a little bit. But they all just do what he says, never question it, and by extension never have any development at all. The reason that the orcs and the humans are way more compelling is because there's some sort of internal strife going on at all times. And then there's a payoff when it resolves. The undead don't have that. There's no payoff for their faction. At the same time, maybe it's best that it's not all the same. If the undead then would end up too similar to the other two factions. I think the undead exist as they exist. They're not as likable as characters, but I think they exist as a faction for a purpose, and I'm glad that it is the way it is, because I agree with that. Laureen.
Oh boy.
So I made Solana my elven queen, but I think in the true story it's supposed to be Laureen, and Solana gets roasted. So...
yeah.
This is weird, because the part of me would put Laureen in, like, a C tier, because, again, she's like a Gardon henchman for the most part, but I think we put her in B, if only because she's supposed to be really important, but that's not how my second human book played out. We never had any plans of raising Blen. Blen being an E tier is an example of a character that actually got more characterization than, like, Dorbrick, for example, but I didn't like it, so he goes lower. Whereas characters that, like, don't really have much character building, they get, like, a C or a D in there. Largoth?
Okay, let's see.
I think Largoth gets an A.
I'm sorry, what? What?
Not because he's likable,
Because
but because he's involved in a lot of important stuff, and I think Larg is a character that gets a lot of undeserving hate, which I think is what makes him interesting. Similar to the Destroyer, actually.
So that means Larg needs a redemption arc now. I'm gonna write that down somewhere. I don't hate Larg, not at all. But honestly, putting him in A surprises me greatly.
Where it seems like he's supposed to be presented in a specific way, but clearly there's more to this character.
Yeah, but A tier?
War crimes go burr. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these Imperial generals, they it's similar. Blen is the perfect first character to get into Arkain. I agree with that, yeah, for the first human book. Lisara, I think, is at least A, along with Ibira. I would go so far as to put Lisara in sliced bread. Even above like her and Largoth are like the, you know, dark one, ooh, spooky. But like, she takes this stupid, dumb, young woman who doesn't know what she wants and is
His disdain for edale that's not corrupted. It's just great. I love it. I was a bit confused. I wouldn't have seen her on sliced bread tier. I would have seen her AB, but not sliced bread. That surprised me a bit, to be honest.
super self-conscious and by extension lets herself get possessed by a demon, and it couldn't have been more obvious. And Salamar was too nice about it instead of being like, "Are you an idiot?" And then Edale's like, "I think you think I'm an idiot. That's not right." And poor Salamar was like, "No, like seriously, I trust you, but like let's just think about this." And then Edale's like, "No, you think I'm young and stupid." So then she gets possessed by a demon. Nice work. But Lisara sort of masterminded that, and then also. She absolutely roasts everybody in pretty much every ending of the second human book. Like, everybody. Like, if you pick Golden Guard and Edale's corrupted, she just sinks their whole flippin' fleet.
Yeah. I still remember the laugh. I still remember him laughing so hard when it happened. I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one who was laughing about that one.
You'll love to see it. No, Ibira's the one that makes a deal with Gardon. In fact, I'd even consider doing something like this. In fact, that's how we're gonna go. Ibira is sliced bread. Lisara gets an A.
Yeah.
Why is Sir Jayborino not on the list is a great question, Alexander, and I challenge Shar when he returns to answer this. Is possibly the most important question.
I did actually come there for a moment to answer, and I was able to answer the question. The answer is Sir Jayborino is on J tier.
Lokar the Crusher? My first thought is Lokar would get a C. I have some headcanon for Lokar, though, which is why he's going to go higher. Because Lokar, while he's basically, you know, he's a general for the faction, he's fine. But Lokar's cool because he challenges Wrath, and he manages to kind of get the remnants of the Darkmind clan and bring them back to the tribal dominion. And by extension, I think that makes him great. That puts him a league above some of the other, you know, middling lieutenant / general tier people.
That's not just headcanon, by the way.
Actually, can I tell you something? I think Dorbrick at least should probably deserve a C.
Yeah.
Lokar is pretty chill, too. Exactly. Exactly. Markazar? I mean,
who is this probably?
I know who it is, but you understand the meaning of the who is this tier at this point. We kind of know who they are, but like the story of the game that we've played up to this point, it wouldn't matter if any of these characters were there or not there.
Yeah.
So they go in the who is this tier. Sir Marin? This man? He... I think Sir Marin gets at least a B. I could consider an A for Sir Marin. That's tough. Merlon, definitely a B.
It's Lord Marin though, Jay. God damn it.
Maya, join your undead lieutenants down here.
But Jay, she's so beautiful. Just look at her face.
Morden, join your undead lieutenants down here. I mean, this Morden may as well go in who is this.
Probably more appropriate at this point.
Here.
Yeah.
Okri is C tier. I think Okri's going to be a little more important. You know what? No, she rides a fellhound, so she gets B. I think that alone pushes her up a little bit. But she is the daughter of the Bloodhand chieftain that was killed by the Destroyer. So there's going to be more to that. There's going to be some sort of confrontation between her and the Destroyer at some point in the future. Though I do think that there's a cool opening for Shar to have a really excellent resolution to that doesn't involve Okri just killing him and then, she just takes over the remnants of the Bloodhand clan and they become part of the Tribal Dominion. Case closed. You don't remember Morden? So Morden is Zaren's brother. The leader of the Hammerfall clan was Zaren, and his brother was Morden, and you kill Morden in the second mission of the whole true story. And that's what makes Zaren so pissed.
Yeah. The first orc mission makes Redfist very pissed. The second orc mission makes Zaren very pissed. The orcs do have a talent for that.
One Eye, join your Tribal Dominion buddies.
Yeah.
Organ? I mean, for the sake of this, should probably just go in who is this.
Yeah.
We don't know that. We don't know enough about the Bloodstone Dwarves yet.
Yeah.
Is this Ornasian, but only when he's undead?
No.
I think Ornasian probably goes in the B tier. He's sort of a useful idiot for Cursadar, and then gets betrayed, but then he's just like really mad about it. So it's similar to the Destroyer in a way. It's like a situation where you see the character as just a stupid brute, but then manages to, like, Shar then takes that character and molds it into something cool and interesting to continue their story, as opposed to like, you're a useful idiot, goodbye, and then that's the end. Instead, Ornasian's made undead, and it becomes much more interesting what happens with it.
Happy to hear it was a good design. Thank you.
Petchin, I think I'll put one level above the other orc generals. If only because he knows how to work the cannon and seems to bring a lot of extremely important enhancements to the Tribal Dominion faction in particular.
Yeah.
Like the workers and the towers and stuff. Pentis? Is this the woman we kill?
No.
Or is this the woman that is on our side? It's Pentis and Queerness. I
Yeah.
don't even remember.
It's things like that that just prove to me the truth. The second undead book was too short. You know, in case there had been any doubts about that. I'm very well aware of a fact.
Unfortunately, the undead elves just don't have enough.
Dark elves.
I think queerness is the one that you go E tier, and then Pensis goes D tier. Just because Pensis is the one at least that joins you, queerness is the one that you poison all of her followers. Sir Praxius?
That's gonna be interesting, I feel like.
Reorganizes all the Kingdom Paladins under one order after Salamar is killed, joins the Golden Guard, goes and helps out the dwarves. I think you're a D tier, honestly. I think Praxius and Horgar exist simply to give the Golden Guard faction some lieutenants. That's it. That's why they're there.
I would not say so, but I will be honest, I understand why he feels that way. The thing is, I didn't really give him much time to show them as characters or develop as characters, so in the second human book at least, so I can see that.
Rahandir, potentially the only... Well, there are two undead characters I actually like. I think Rahandir goes B tier.
Fair.
And let's just skip ahead. Saphira, I think, gets A tier. I don't know if maybe these both deserve A tier or not, but Saphira has not, as of yet, had one of those moments where she confronts someone and goes, "You don't know anything, you dummy."
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Whereas Rahandir does that all the time. Krom does that all the time. Saphira just seems like an actual character. And by extension gets an A, just because I think the undead need some upper level representation here, okay?
Yeah, Saphira is, I can understand. I can totally see where it's coming from. There's something behind that, probably. But the thing is, I mean, what's behind that? What am I talking about? The thing is, she is not like the other characters. She just is like that, yeah.
Ramirez, who are you? Just
Yeah.
another human general? Get added to this silly group? Rangul. Tough pick. Tough pick.
Yeah.
He does unite the orc clans. He dreams big. But they're also pretty bad. They're stupid. Stupid dreams. Because, by all intents and purposes, there's no way... He should know. There's literally no way he can win. And this is actually said in the final mission in Act 3, where I think the Destroyer is the one that tells him, like, look, our ancestors came here at a higher power level centuries ago, and were killed. They lost. You are coming here weaker. Somehow you think you can win, even though our enemies are stronger now. You know?
Got a point.
So does that make him an A? I don't think so. I think Rangul gets a B. In fact, as time goes on, I almost consider Rangul on like a Blen tier. Like, it's a blank slate. He's just a blank slate. At the very least, he's got some characterization with Vanessa and the other orc chieftains. It's interesting, whereas Blen, he's just sort of there to be a character that you play as, but doesn't really... Okay. I'm rolling back a little bit on Blen. Blen at least talks to the new generals now. Like, he's got a relationship with Zoya. There's something there.
B for bad idea.
Rangul with sass. It runs in the family. Wrath? Look, the thing about Wrath, he's dumb, but everything he does, like, he's really mad for a reason. He's not just like, I want to kill everybody. He wants to kill everyone because his entire clan was genocided. Like, in pretty horrific ways. So, like, of course...
Burned alive.
He's upset, you know? Does that justify him being stupid and making brash decisions? No.
No.
But you can understand, you know? This is difficult. I think I would give Wrath at least a B. B or C? I think we give Wrath a C. That's a tough.
Okay.
Tough one. That's a tough one for me. I think Red Fist.
Best dad. Not really.
Red Fist is, again, very myopic. There's like a war against demons going on, and he has like one of the strongest human factions and chooses to hunt orcs instead. You know?
The thing is, that faction was created to hunt the orcs and nothing else.
He also is sort of the reason why all of his daughters suck, Vanessa, but he didn't raise her. So, Red Fist is similar to Wrath, though, in the sense that he... Like, you can understand why he's this upset. The difference, though, is Wrath's entire clan was completely wiped out in horrific ways. Red Fist's daughter was kidnapped. Obviously, it's really difficult, very difficult, to compare this. Like, if you had one close family member pass away, it's terrible.
I mean, his daughter was gone and his wife was burned alive. So he lost basically his quote-unquote entire family. But there's, of course, a difference compared to what happened to Wrath, but...
How do you compare that to, like, everybody in your ethnic group was destroyed?
Yeah.
You know, like... At, like, a strictly utilitarian level, the more people that die, that's bad, right?
Either S or E tier.
But I still understand, like, he's mad because his daughter was taken away. I feel like Red Fist is either S or E. There's no middle ground. Dude, yes, you've captured my thoughts exactly. I was actually thinking of putting Red Fist in E. Red Fist story is about a man who got broken by a tragedy, not strong enough to rise above, became even worse than the ones who wronged him. He works as a story device, but not great on his own. See, it's almost difficult for me to say, like, there's not that much of a difference between Red Fist and Derrick. Like, they just want to kill the orcs. Like, I don't know. What makes Red Fist so special that his daughter was captured? Orcs kill a lot of people.
Yeah. That's... I mean, Red Fist reacted a very different way.
Wasn't Edale's memory of Red Fist corrupted by Ibira? I think you mean Lisara, but was he was actually a good father? No, I think Shar pulled the rug out from you twice on that one. Where you think he's mean, and then they're like, oh, actually, he might be nice, and then it's like, oh, no, actually, he's mean. He's literally called Duke Redfist the Tyrant. Look, I'm sorry. Maybe, you know what? Write your essays about this one. Redfist goes in E.
Oh, okay.
I'll at least put him up here. It's kind of like the Bone... It's like my opinion on the Bone Lords. They're clearly, like, important characters, but there's just not enough going on there where I think that they deserve the type of air that they're in the story for.
I think what makes Red Fist also stand out as a character is how many characters he influenced by being, well, himself. And if you go further that way, Rangul made Red Fist the character he is, and Red Fist influenced so many people, so I guess you could say that Rangul is to blame for everything. But, yeah. I can see where he's coming from. I wouldn't... I don't know. Red Fist in E tier. I'm not going to be one who tells him that. Nope. Absolutely not me.
Clearly, #1 dad is the worst dad. He's a good villain, though, so maybe that should place him higher. I don't know. I'll re-review this once we get everyone up on the board. Reynold Van Durst, on the other hand, I think this character... You're going to hate me for this.
Am I?
I'm putting Reynold Van Durst as an A. At least. I'd almost go so far as to put him in sliced bread. Queen Renova, who are you? I know you're the Elven Queen, but who...
Reld an A tier, that's a very interesting thing. I personally agree with it a lot. Reynolds gets a lot of hate he doesn't deserve to get, in my opinion. At the same time, originally he was designed as a character who you are absolutely hate at the beginning of the second human book, and he nailed that perfectly. It's also a bit cheap when I say that about characters I write my own, I know. I just think he starts as a character you're just bound to hate. From the very trailer of the second human book, he was presented in a way that people hated him. And then he just changed in a way that made him so much more interesting as a character and also more likable. I feel like there's still some sort of split, not as in... I think there's people who have very different opinions about him, and that's cool. I mean, if people argue about this stuff and discuss this stuff, it means that they're invested, and I'm always very happy to hear that. Or to see it, in that case.
Who cares? Retka? He leads a rebellion? Who cares? You go in E. Just like, he and Queerness, kind of the same, in a way, right?
Kinda.
Solana? This is difficult, because Solana has two different outcomes, and I assume in the true story she's actually just going to be killed. Potentially raised, and then she can hang out with her sister. Isn't Saphira Solana's sister? Aren't they sisters?
No. Friends.
I think Solana... I mean... She's a B or a C. I think we put her in B to be consistent. She's like a Petchin in that way. Reynold Van Based.
Reynold Van Based, alright.
Who's Reynold again? Reynold Van Durst. He's the leader of the Golden Guard. Salamar. He's not in the story for very long. This is difficult, because Salamar, I think, is actually very intelligent in the sense that he sees Edale's fears and tries to placate them, but she's so fucked up that she, like, second-guesses him anyway.
Yeah.
Like, Edale's all about, like, how could you possibly not, how could you think I'm this weak? And Salamar's like, I don't think you're weak. I actually trust you quite a bit, but on this specific thing, why don't we just wait? I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm not ordering you to not do it. All I'm saying is just wait. And she still is like, no! You don't trust me at all! And then she absorbs demon artifacts and...
Sorry, I'm gonna let him continue his rant.
And gets possessed.
I mean, Lisara also had a hand in that one, but very, very true still.
So... And then he gets unceremoniously killed by Largoth, and there's really nothing he can do about it. So... The other thing is, in the original Orc books, which is not canon anymore, but if you don't kill his base at the end of the first Orc book, he actually manages to stop Praxius from absorbing all the Paladins from the Order, and it helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, Like, Salamar is a character that, like, at least tries to do the right thing, and does so fairly intelligently, and just gets killed almost in an unlucky manner. So I would put him in a B.
Yeah.
Scarlet Red Fist? I mean, I had Cora absorb her. So, from my perspective, she's sort of a who is this? But I'll put her in the D. I'll put her in the D category. Cellier Cleavehand, another character who has a lot of faults due to being self-conscious when it comes to Blen greymore. Due to really no fault of his own, he gets mind-fucked. Thank you, Chenla. Do you enjoy this channel and want to support Jayborino? Then consider with just the $1 or $5 membership a month.
Yep, exactly. You go do that.
I'd appreciate it. Cellular Cleavehand goes into the E category. He's a dummy, but it's not really his fault. But, like, it doesn't matter, you know? Thanok, Black Dragon, and...
Can't really say that I really agree with Cellier being of the same level as Blen. He would probably hate that as well. But yeah, he said he's going to revisit it, so let's see if it stays that way. Poor Cellier doesn't deserve being next to Blen. I mean, to be fair, I think he would be happy to see that that Blen isn't above him anyway. That's a good thing, right? Poor Cellier.
Secret. He's a Gardon goon. He goes in the C tier. Tories. Where did we put Dortan? Dortan's the C tier?
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing this. Dortan goes in D tier, and Tories goes in the C tier instead.
Fair.
Yeah. I feel better about that.
Yeah.
Vale, deposed princess. Well, she wasn't deposed. She's the heiress of a deposed lineage. And then she marries Gardon strictly for bloodline dynasty purposes, dynastic purposes. And then Gardon fucks around with Laureen instead anyway.
Didn't expect him to say that here.
Thanok has no character, even being a dragon. It's almost like, who is this? That's kind of how I feel, though, about the characters that I have in the C tier, though. They exist as, like, middling lieutenants. They get some screen time, they have some motivations, but they're not just, like, complete blank slates. They have something that they're contributing. And I think you could probably say the same about some of these undead lieutenant people, but I think that they're just a victim of the second undead book not ever being finished.
Yeah.
And us not really being exposed to them enough in the true story yet.
Yeah.
So, oh well, that's where they go. Vale is probably a C or a B. I mean, hey, someone stole my throne. Okay, I'll help you get it back. Okay. That's Vale. That's it. I mean, that's all it is.
I mean, Zarin called her female Gardon, right? So.
Vanessa. Vanessa is at least an A tier of the Red Fist daughters. I would even consider putting Vanessa in the sliced bread tier.
The highest Red Fist.
But she's at least an A, and that's what we'll put her for now. Zermac? Zermac, at least a B. Maybe an A. We'll consider it. Zarin Hammerfall, the only character that is... the only dwarven character that I think matters. Yes, he joins the Golden Guard, but the thing to consider about Zarin is every time he encounters the enemy, he's usually like hey, I don't want to have to do this, but, like, you don't seem to realize that you're being played, so now I have to kill you. Sorry. So, like, Zaren seems like a character similar to, like, Salamar, who seems to know what is right, and tries, at least, to align himself with the side that is going along with that as best he can.
Yeah.
So I think Zaren goes at least to B, and maybe is even A tier.
Best dwarf.
In fact, I'll put him in A tier.
Yeah.
And then Zoya, I mean, whatever. Zoya seems to have some cool schemes going on. Like she's like brainwashing orcs to be spies. I think that's for her. I think that's cool. She has a little more characterization than my who is this tier Imperial generals, so I think I'll put her up there with where I put Bull Guy.
Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't put her on the same level as Blen.
Up here, right?
She would hate that.
No, but really, where's Bull Guy? Oh, Dorbrick. There we go. It's because it's not in order anymore. All right. There it is. Our Arkain tier list. And if I had to, Zoya is cruel as fuck. Yeah, that's true. People say, like, Largoth is the genocidal one, but, like, she's worse, seemingly. And Blen just sort of the other reason Blen is so low is because, like, rather than having some sort of striking thing about him, like, Zoya is awful, but it's, like, it's very striking about her. Blen is like, yep, that's, you know, you're right, I guess we should just kill them all. Like, he just goes along with whatever's happening. He never really drives anything himself.
Yeah.
So he's boring.
That's the thing, yeah. Blen's not doing anything. Zoya is, of course, not a nice person. But she has more character than Blen does. Despite Blen getting more character now.
Okay, tell me. What do you take umbrage with the most? What do you have the biggest issue with on my list?
Largoth being A tier. Actually, let's take a short look at this. Yeah, Largoth being A tier is still... I don't completely understand the reason behind it. Otherwise... the best dad in the world being on E tier, maybe. Red guess where he belongs. Sass too. Yeah, personally, now that I look at the current state, I'm pretty sure he's going to change a few things. As he said for earlier. I mean, I'm still not sure why Largoth's that high. I just don't think he's... I don't think he's a bad character, anything. I didn't expect him to be an A tier, to be honest, still. I expected maybe a C or a B for him. Or a D even, if Jay didn't like him. I didn't see an A tier coming, to be honest. But then again, Largoth's trying. And I guess he has to get a redemption arc now. I love the fact how there's just 2 levels between the 2 edales. Like his disdain for the uncorrupted one. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts her in E or something now. Anyway, let's see.
Does anyone deserve to go from A to sliced bread? You can't see Sir Jayborino because he's actually in a tier above sliced bread. On screen.
As I said.
The other thing I would say is, if Sass wasn't in a meme tier, where would I actually put him? I think he would. He's a C or a B character, maybe. The only thing with Sass regard is, like, he does rescue Vanessa in one of the hardest missions in the flippin' campaign. So this whole idea of, like, oh, he's a coward does not fit. that was really shoehorned into the second orc book, and I think at the very least, I think what Shar is doing instead is he's not going to go the coward route. It's just going to be the he betrayed Amari route. I think that's what's going to lead to it. But I wonder if Sesargarn will be killed as crappily as he was originally. I don't know. Graffsag is an S.
I was just passing by at that moment.
You move Vanessa up. I was waffling between Vanessa, between S and A. Jayborino is J tier. I think the two that... If Shar is going to be unhappy with anything on this list, I think he's going to be unhappy with Red Fist and the Bone Lords being so low. But that's how it be sometimes. Is there a reason I put Gorthog here and not up with like the other tribal dominion leaders?
Now that he mentions it, I didn't notice it.
I think it's just because we haven't had enough time with him, as compared to at least some of these other ones where we've had more than one mission with.
Poor gorthog.
Yeah, you know what? Zermac, I think, should go up to at least A. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Van Durst deserves S tier. Coming from an account named Inquisitor. You love to see it. You know, the thing about Reynald is that he actually does try. And
yeah.
Gardon is the one that's like, no, fuck you. It's too far gone.
Love the music, by the way.
Yeah, I think I'll do it. I think I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think I'll do it.
Fair. Fair.
I think my only disagreement is Cora being so high. She kind of felt like a stand-in for players who didn't corrupt edale in the first book. That's a great point. I think her story is just like a better edale, though, at the same time. And she gets one of the best abilities in the game. So to be clear, the higher a character is doesn't mean that I think they're, like, good, like, morally or ethically. Yeah. I think this is kind of my tier list of, like, who I find to be the most compelling characters in Arkain.
Exactly.
I think this is pretty reasonable. I think this is a pretty good list.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this turned out pretty good.
Right. Yeah, that was my reaction to Jay's tier list. I'm pretty sure it wasn't my best. I made a list myself. It wasn't a serious list though. I was just putting everyone into S tier and Sass into Sass tier. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Have a nice day.